Coming up next on RaceSpotTV, we head to Lime Rock Park for Monday Night Skippys. It's 7 corners of pure hell, coming up in just a few moments. It's Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV. We are here live, as always, every Monday. And well, ladies and gentlemen, it says it across the start-finish line. Lime Rock Park. We are here at the 7 Corner Racetrack here in Lime Rock, Connecticut for 25 laps of pure hell, Connery. It's going to be an interesting race as we look at our timing and scoring. The top 41 cars out of 60 are within a second of each other. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be incredibly interesting. As always, Lime Rock Park races are in this Monday Night Skippy series. Always huge participation. And we're just about ready to get round number 1 of this season of Monday Night Skippys underway. And the theme for this season, can Bill Fraser defend his title?
Oh, absolutely. Bill Fraser, first-time champion last season. What's he got in store for us this time round? We're looking at the timing and scoring. He's in 6th place. And, of course, we're going to go to our qualifying right now. Taking the pole position tonight with a 57.017 for him on tonight is with Simon Edwards in 2nd place, Paul Thurston in 3rd. Fantastic by him. Benny Simonson back in 4th place with Mick Watson, Bill Fraser, Jack Hobbs, Ben Daniels, Keith Sharp and Nathan Davies in 10th place. 11th place, Matt Cox, Adam Terry, Thomas O'Leary, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts with James McRitchie in 15th. Gary Tall, Darrell Taylor, Anthony Catt, Robert Plumley and Dave Kirkman in 20th. That's those results up on your screen. Well, Connery, 60 cars, 41 within a second. This is going to be... I struggle to word right now because this thing is going to be crazy.
It is going to be crazy, and only one left-hand turn on this track, so it's all going right. Just that's the situation that we have dealing with here. But look at that grid extending all the way back through the final turn, up even starting on the downhill bit, going up towards the entry to the final turn. That's how far back that this field extends to right now. And maybe perhaps we can get a shot of that one there. There is the back of the field. Back around the entry towards the final turn. This is crazy.
Turn 7. Absolutely crazy indeed. As, we're about to get ready for some serious shenanigans in this one. I cannot wait to see what goes down in this race. Because as Chris Watt says in the chat, Bedlam. Yes, that's probably going to be it, Connery, as we're now waiting the last few seconds here for our start. Like we said, we went tonight, Simon Edwards, Paul Thurston, Benny Simonson, Mick Watson, your top 5 for this thing. Benny back. That should make things interesting. The engines start to rev. Green flag will fly. Slow start by Simon Edwards, who just doesn't quite actually get the overlap on Paul Thurston, who has a flying start from third place. He'll be up the inside for second place early on, although around the outside goes Simon, as comes Benny as well. Paul. Welcome back, folks. Do apologise for technical issues we just experienced there, but we're back on track here. It's lap number 4. And sorry, we're not Fox TV. We don't go to commercial as soon as the green flag drops, but had some technical issues. It's Antonida still leading, Benny Simonson in second place, Edwards third, Watson fourth, Fraser in fifth. Paul Thurston's dropped down the order a little bit, Connery. He was 5 wide a few moments ago with the guys back there, Daniels, Terry, Cox, McRitchie, and him. Things have been pretty calm so far. We've lost about 4 or 5 cars, as we expected we might. There is 53 running still. But in general, surprisingly clean for Lime Rock.
Yeah, surprisingly clean indeed, especially when you consider the amount of cars that we have out there on circuit. 60 cars, right, in fact 59 cars did take the green flag at the start of this race. And you say there's been a couple of times since then. There's actually Jeff Killick, number 04 car. Has a huge moment coming over the top of the hill, and that can happen since the car does go light as you crest that hill, and as a result he spins towards the driver's right hand side of the track. In fact, he's still there, so he has to just wait for the huge trail of cars to try and pass by him to try and get himself back onto the circuit there, Rachel.
He does indeed. Keep our eyes up front here though. Bill Fraser in a bit of a sarnie right now as he's sitting between the cars of Hobbs and Watson, trying to advance his position. Of course, title defender there, Bill Fraser, the 13 machine. Wants to get himself back towards the front, but competition's stiff. It's just up ahead of them. Of course, you've got Edwards has just been passed by Simonson. Peridemar catching Antonides here, so there is a real chance that this could become a 3-horse battle for your race win. Antonides ploughing ahead with some great lap times at the moment, as they're all doing their very best to keep themselves up there. But just behind them, the group is actually closing in. Davies as well is catching up there, as is, of course, the cars of Fraser and Watson, so a lot could still happen in this one today. We'll look back a little bit further back here at Paul Thurston, who was, of course, third place qualifier. He'll be proud of that time, as he's now running around Terry, Cox and Ritchie. Probably going to be seeing him some moves here, as I believe Ritchie will go for something. He looks to the inside. He'll make a move, but it won't stick. No, holds the position though. Paul Thurston still sitting there in 11th place. Dropped back quite a bit on that first lap or two, Connery, but has managed to stabilise here. The traffic has just been so heavy. Once you get pushed to an outside at Lime Rock, you are going to be there for a while.
Yeah, you're basically going to be freight trained on the preferred line. If you did decide to go offline anywhere on the circuit, it's just the way the circuit plays out in these sorts of cars. As I said, the only real overtaking opportunities down in towards turn number 1 with the help of the draft coming down the pit straight. But these laps are ticking by very, very quickly here, Rachel. We're already coming up to around about, we're going to be finishing lap number 7 now, on to lap number 8 of 25. Fahim's still trying to pull away at the front though. This is very interesting. If he can break the draft here, that would be absolutely immense for his race. Really increases his chances of taking the race win, but that's a wonder if Benny Simonson and Simon Edwards are going to have to start working together here to not let Fahim Antonides get away at the front.
I don't think he's going to break away necessarily on his own, but the big advantage here will be getting draft from the lap cars up ahead, because yes, lap number 8 now, we're already about to lap cars, but more importantly, traffic management here will play the biggest difference, Connery, of course, for your top 3. Who can get past cars cleanly and who gets caught up in traffic, because it's about to be a lot of traffic, almost constant traffic actually for these guys once they get maybe a lap or so in the books here, and that will really be the telling tale in who will win this race.
Yeah, it'll be a huge issue, and it kind of calls for, even though this is a 25 lap sprint race with lap times under a minute, that's kind of still calls for like an endurance mindset when you're dealing with this traffic. You just have to be a little bit patient, try not to make any harsh moves down towards the inside on the lap traffic. Of course, as the car behind it is your job to facilitate a safe pass as part of the sporting code. So these blue flags aren't mandatory at all, at least in terms of the iRacing way of thinking of things with the sporting code. So this is the issue that Fahim, Simonson, Edwards, everyone in these front 2 packs have to deal with now, as they're coming up to a train of 3 lap cars, in fact, as there's a little bit of battling behind with the 147, I believe. That was Robert Plumley, and actually Robert Plumley is around, and there's further incidents ahead as well with the car of Nicholas Vaughan Roberts. This was coming through that end of the 5th sector.
Yep, and McRitchie there, of course, leading the group there with Thurston in it as well, as Anthony Capp behind him. Those guys having a bit of a kerfuffle. back in 13th place. As there's a group of about 6 cars, they're all fighting pretty hard. Thurston gets very wide, gets in the grass, will lose a bit of time there. Anthony Cat will have a big advantage in terms of his speed. And that should give him an advantage down the straight, but he gets a bit of ground himself on the curb. Might need to just back off to defend that one. There's cars behind trying to make an advantage, get some speed here. Make some passes into the first corner, big braking zone there, take advantage of that and maybe use it, but no one actually gains anything in that attempt. They try though, that's typically how it works, but for now, things staying nice and calm. Up towards the front, Benny and Edwards and Antonides. Well, Fahim's got a lap car between them now. In fact, they've gotten past one, they're working on the second. Fahim seems to be having a slightly easier job of clearing people.
Yeah, Fahim is just starting to check out now, as checking up. Perhaps is Benny Simpson behind the lap car, as that will slow him down coming through the final corner. And Simon Edwards will try to squeak his way by on the inside of the lap traffic as well. That's Luke Ashton Jones there. But all of this has just slowed these two cars down now. Simon Edwards too wide with Benny Simpson. And here comes Oliver Elliott, who was actually in fact the lap down, but looking very, very feisty anyway, as he in fact gets the pass over what is going to be Luke Ashton Jones there. So Simon Edwards still locked onto the back of Simpson. But the thing is, look at that for Fahim Antonides. He's basically gotten away. He has broken the draft. He's been able to deal with this draft traffic much, much better than his competitors.
Well, Benny made a big mistake actually last time by. He ran very wide, and it actually cost him a lot of time. It was actually had side by side there between the two of Edwards and Simonson at that point. Because of the amount of time he lost, he had a lot of the gas coming out of turn 7. Yeah, they're down by a second and a half here on Fahim, so as long as Fahim can keep breaking that draft, keep passing the lap cars, he is now out of their draft range, so he's in a safe position here to cruise this thing. We're approaching the halfway point in tonight's race in a lap or two, and that'll be interesting to see how it plays forwards. Thurston down to 12th place here from 3rd. Gaps have just broken up a little bit, and for now things looking fairly stable. Maltby back in the 19th spot, just behind Alan Patterson, ahead of Jonathan Sheen. That trio racing position here. It looks like Sheen might have a move here on Maltby. Up to the inside there, get in nicely into position. Does it on the brakes. And Sheen will be through there. Textbook pass into turn 1, and now has to work on Patterson, who's just up ahead. But that's really our one passing opportunity there, Connery, that people can really take. And after this, it's kind of a you have to follow the leader.
Yeah, you kind of do, unless, of course, you have a big enough buffer to behind to be able to go for that too wide all the way around the circuit. But here comes Sheen now. Does he make the pass coming down into the kink up the hill? That is the issue. But no, he's a little bit smart about that. Actually, there's a slow car ahead. That's Chris Morris, number 25. Very slow going off the top of the crest. And he will put himself off to the grass. In fact, just get himself well out of the way, which is the very courteous thing to do there. Is actually side by side for P number 8 now, I believe. This is Ben Daniels versus Nathan Davis, as Davis will get all sorts of loose coming off the corner of turn number 1 out onto the marbles as well, spins towards the inside onto the grass, and that is Davis, the man from the valleys, losing quite a few positions as he rejoins kind of unsafely there. Dave Dowson and Andrew Mumby did have to take avoiding action.
I'm just trying to work out one of the lap cars here that we saw a track a moment ago who had managed to find his... Oh, it's David Monteiro, who came out of the pits in front of a bunch of cars heading into turn 1 and literally couldn't find a place on the racetrack to avoid everybody and ended up just kind of being in the way a bit. As Anthony Small also goes off and runs very wide of the grass, and he's taking the scenic tour around turn 2 and 3. We'll try and rejoin now behind traffic, get back up to speed as multiple people just getting a little bit wide as round goes another driver just appear, and we have a double incident. That is, as Mumby. I try and work out, that is the 5 car. Andrew Mumby having issues in 17th place. He's just gone round coming up turn 5.
Contact from behind. Yeah,
contact from behind, and another car comes into that one and gets a hit. I think that was Maltby who got involved there, so unfortunate for him. But the sharp end, what's going on now? The gap 3 seconds for Fahim Antonides over your second place runners. Fahim has broken away and is off like a scalded cat right now in first place. Lap traffic playing into his favour. Simmons is still second, Edwards in 3rd place. Watson kind of hot on the heels in the 4th spot, with Bill Fraser catching up here, so looks like the fighting between 2nd and 3rd is bringing more cars into this mix.
Yeah, even though first place is off and away, at least as far as Fahim Antonidis is concerned, they're still battling for the final couple of podium positions as Edwards looks towards down the inside here on Benny Fitzsimonson coming down in towards turn number 1, but that move won't stick. No opportunity. Will just stay behind for now. Still got 10 laps to make things work for Simon Edwards, so it's not like he's in any huge amount of rush. But the thing is, there is still lap traffic ahead. Lap traffic trying to rejoin the track as well as Marky Young in the 310 car gets himself back onto the racing circuit, and then back off for the racing circuit, and then back onto the racing circuit as he tries to avoid all the cars trying to come through.
Make your mind up time actually down the racetrack as, well, some of these incidents have given Paul Thurston respite because now he's back up to 10th place and chasing down McRitchie, who's just ahead of him. So it could be advantage there as the group just ahead of him are getting fairly busy actually. Daniels, O'Leary and Hobbs racing hard there on the track, dealing with lap traffic but also trying to deal with each other. And of course making their race a little bit slower for them as they try and get through.
Yeah, Oliver Elliott and Luke Ashton-Jones, they are the lapped cars here, so the second in this train and the last in this four-car train. As actually Oliver Elliott will actually go for the move on Thomas O'Leary, even though O'Leary's P7 and Elliott's is P number 38, as he's got to be careful not to run to the back. He's fighting too hard with the lead lap cars. He shouldn't be doing this. He should just let them through, even though that is not mandatory. It's just the sensible option.
Yeah, certainly is a sensible option and one you'll have to try and ensure that goes the right way here, but the traffic is being fairly compliant so far. Most people are getting well out of the way and making sure they don't impede traffic during this event, but it's certainly providing a bit more of a challenge than other tracks. This track's so very small, of course, not many opportunities to pass. Cooperation is the #1 rule here. The gap between Antonidis and Simonson, I believe, is actually coming down here. It is slowly, not a lot, but it is slowly coming down. 7 laps remaining here, Connery. Simonson and Edwards are 2.7 back from Antonidis. It got as high as 3, but they're not really gaining track fast enough to make a difference. Edwards and Watson and Fraser are catching Edwards and Simonson here. That will be a factor, specifically for Watson, as it looks as though steam's run out for Bill Fraser, your previous champion. Hobbs catching him at the moment. Thurston is in the 10th spot, but he is catching Ritchie now. McRitchie is in 9th place, of course, being reeled in, and how they deal with the 2 lap cars up ahead will definitely decide this one.
Yeah, exactly. Is looking at towards that particular battle, it's one that really hasn't been making any moves so far as they do head their way through the final corner. But here comes the run from Simon Edwards, potentially just sitting in that slipstream. Early defensive line here taken from Benny Simonson down towards turn number 1, forces Simon Edwards to go the long way around of the double apex right-hander as well. He can make it a double apex right-hander, but here comes Simon Edwards here trying to get the cutback on the second apex. But the thing is, that is not anywhere near enough momentum to try and get himself through there. And Watson's still on the back of this, still watching and waiting to see where his particular opportunity arises. But with all this fighting that P2, P3 are doing, that just means that Fahim is even more of a secure of a way to win at the moment.
Certainly looks to be that way. Yeah, the gap has just come straight back down here. McRitchie and Thurston handling the lap traffic, both of them through. Thurston handling it a little bit better than McRitchie though, but as they come up through turn 5, things are just a little bit closer than they were before. And Thurston matches best qualifying in quite a few races with a good result here. Won't be a 3rd place like where he qualified, but it'll certainly be a good one as traffic is certainly hectic on the track.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe not for these front runners right now. They're in a little bit of clear air, but in terms of the rest of the field, the traffic is causing a little bit of a couple of issues trying to get themselves in the way, especially in this battle for P number 10 and downwards. There's just quite a bit of that traffic. You've got Oliver Elliott in there. You've got Luke Ashton-Jones, who's just fallen off the back of this train, in fact, as well. But there were lap cars trying to disrupt things.
The lap cars will of course get in the way, whether it's their choice or not to. Fahim looking like it's another 3-second gap for him this time as the lap's winding down here. Connor is looking more and more sure as long as lap traffic doesn't play a factor for him. He's got some good gaps actually up ahead in terms of traffic. It's going to be about 4 laps before he really gets into these guys, so definitely a big advantage there. Simonson across the line, the gap is now 3.161, so that's not a terrible gap. In fact, it did open back up again. Our biggest groups of drivers, of course, back in really your top 20 sort of range. We've got some good pods of cars going on. Of course, the Thurston battle with McRitchie. They are still super close, but they've got lap cars all over them, and that's definitely impacting how the race goes. Looking down towards Patterson, who was racing, of course, with, that was Simon Maltby, as I just tried to find his name in the list, until the incident we just had. That's moved Patterson up to 20th place from 23rd on the grid. Big movers so far. Jonathan Sheen, 29th to 15th, Connor, a huge move for him. As well as, of course, we've got 15th to 9th from McRitchie. He's made some good ground on the track. Jones, 25th to 16th, and 38th to 17th, Peter Cowan, who really qualified terribly here considering his usual pace. He's worked his way up the grid considerably.
Yeah, he has been fantastic in picking up those positions, and just looking at where he is on the racing circuit, it doesn't look like too much is on now before the end of the race in terms of improving his position. At least passes out there on track. There still could be a couple of instances at the front. That means he improves his position, but I think P number 17. Which he's in right now, is probably the best that he can do without some external factors right now. But Nick Sickley will decide to try to make the pass on him coming down in towards turn number 1. I don't think Cowan's going to fight that one too much. As a result, Plumley will try to capitalize on Cowan letting the other car through. Side by side, they'll go through turns 1 and 2 here, and Cowan will only lose one position there.
He will indeed. No real change in running order between, of course, Watson and Simonson. Edwards, Watson and Simonson, they're all still the same sort of positions. Gaps very much similar. Watson's really not be able to catch up to the back of those two, Connery. He's just staying about maybe just under a second back as Edwards goes for the draft there on Simonson. Gets blocked there, runs wide. This will bring Watson back into the mix, very much so, and bring him into contention for a podium spot here. And you know he'll want that, so he will fight as hard as he can to get himself into this mix in these dying laps here. 4 to go, including this lap. Now it's time to start making those passes and use what you've got in your race car. Of course, you can see Edwards getting a little bit, should we say, impatient here with Benny Simonson, trying to now put his car into position to make some passes. That will slow the pair of them down, bring Watson into this game, and we will have a battle, if not for the lead, but for the podium spots here. One of these guys will lose out.
Yep, one of them will, as that is just just sometimes racing in a nutshell. Sometimes you get all you want, sometimes you just miss out, as Edwards trying to follow the car through the final corner. Benny Simonson is going to be a little bit of a sitting duck here if he's not too careful. Edwards, oh, so close with the lap traffic there. That was an interesting sort of situation, but around the outside, Simon Edwards will still go. Try to take P number 2 away from Simonson, but Simonson running a very good defensive line at the moment. Not much Edwards can really do about that one, and you have to say that Edwards also has to be concerned about Mick Watson behind at this point in time as well. He's not a second back off the train anymore. He's a 10th of a second back off.
Yeah, and that will make a huge difference to his chances to get the draft and really catch up with these guys in the ensuing laps. Not many to go. Gap widened up to 3.5 seconds, 3.6 now at this point for Antonides. Lap traffic ahead, but you can afford to take his time. You can afford to be a little patient here and make sure he has no errors, Connery. It'll be lap 24 for him this time across the line. There'll be 1 to go after this lap, so it's 2 to go mark now as he'll cross over. Already the home stretch here as he gets the draft of another lap car, uses it to pull alongside, will be clear before the braking zone for turn 1. It's been a flawless race so far for Fahim Antonides.
Yeah, absolutely flawless. There's almost a little bit of contact for P number 2 in towards the braking zone for turn number 1. That was Edwards almost running into the back of the number 20 of Benny Simonson there, and he has to be a little bit careful through this twisty section because Mick Watson has been pretty strong here. Lap car trying to rejoin the track ahead. That's Matthew Forrest. Will stay off the circuit though. Well done to him for not impeding these leaders as they try to sort themselves out for the final podium places.
Absolutely not, and well, they are doing what they can to try and ensure they stay out of the way, but like we said, not a lot of room on this track and not a lot of places to let people through. It's actually a fairly narrow racetrack, and the Skippy's really one of the best classes of car to run on here, as Antonides, of course, has gone across the line now. Or just will onto his final lap here. Second place will be the way the battle will really happen, as draft being used by Edwards to try and catch up here to Benny Simonson, but I'm not sure he's going to have much to chance. The gaps have actually widened up here. I think it's going to stay the same order we've had, so quiet end to this race. as Thurston's still not caught up to McRitchie. He's not going to make a pass either. That was one of our close battles we've been watching all race long. Just stuck on his back end is down No Name Straight. That's actually what it's called. Comes for Humanton now up to turn 5. Cresting up the hill. Probably one of the fastest, most interesting corners on this track. Climbing and cornering at the same time. To a very flat turn 6 he'll come. One more to go and he will win the first round of Monday Night Skippys this week, as we had an incident on the racetrack in front of him. I hope that stays in a straight line for him. Oh, problems oh my gosh. Problems for Fahim. Can he keep going here?
Benny Simpson's coming.
Benny's coming. Oh my gosh, no. Benny comes through and will win the race. Heartbreak for Fahim Antonides, as Fahim will finish in 3rd after a last corner crash for some lap down cars. I can't believe my eyes, Connor.
Wow. Maybe we'll risk a replay for this one.
Yeah, we need to risk a replay right now. That deserves a replay risk. Oh my god. He comes in and it's the cars just ahead of him having a huge crash in the final corner. And, well, they just end up hitting him actually and on track exactly where he tried to go. Nothing he could do. Tries to rejoin, but just doesn't have the speed in time to get back up to velocity. And on the clean track, through comes Edwards, and oh, I guarantee Benny Simonson did not expect to be winning this race at this point.
If he stayed on his normal line through the corner, he would have got through that fine.
Yep.
Yeah, he took avoiding action early, and that was the wrong decision to go left in that sort of situation. And you can just see the absolute pile-up in the final turn. And then, of course, Benny Simonson running across the line. There's that incident in front involving Simon Maltby. And you see Maltby spinning across the apex there, collects another car. Antonides doesn't really have any contact, has to take such avoiding action contact with the tyre barrier. And I wonder if we can get a shot coming with Benny Simpson just trying to come through, as we'll see that incident again. This is the view from Simonson now. He sees that wreck in the final corner, doesn't know if Fahim's involved. He just has to run to the line now. And there we go. There's Fahim trying to get back onto the circuit, pass on the left-hand side before the start-finish line. And I think Fahim is a little bit annoyed that our start-finish line wasn't quite straight out the final corner like it is on a lot of Formula 1 circuits.
Well, looking at this incident, Connery, of course, Maltby went to the right. And you'd think logically he'd stay over there, which typically they would, and maybe slide back onto the track. So he comes off the normal racing line to avoid the car that's gone off the track to the right and may rejoin, or slide back on the track. Unfortunately, he comes ricocheting back across at high speed because he tried to accelerate on the grass and just shoots across the track, gets hit by another car, flips to the air. That's the sort of timing gap you'd have in a NASCAR race where a driver has to decide to go left or right at 200 miles an hour to avoid an impact. And it's a lottery. We can't put it on for him because it's just one of those situations of you have to pick, and it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, it is a 50-50 shot, and with you commenting on the on super speedway stuff as well, Rachel, you know how that is, especially in super speedway NASCAR racing. It's just a matter of tenths of a second to decide which way do I go, and it just happened to be it was the wrong one.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunate end to that one. We're going to go through your post-race results now, which were not the results we were expecting. Oh, it's Benny Simonson with the win today here at Lime Rock Park. Shock finish to the race. Simon Oates in 2nd, Fremont Snyder's in 3rd place. Mick Watson, Bill Fraser in P5, with Jack Hobbs, Thomas O'Leary, Ben Daniels, James McRitchie, Paul Thurston rounds out your top 10. Matt Cox, Gary Tall, Anthony Gatt, Darryl Taylor, Jonathan Jean in 15th place, Anthony Jones, Nick Sigley, Robert Plumley, Peter Cowan, and Alan Patterson. Rest of those results on your screen now for you, as what a shocker we've just had today. I don't think I really expected that to be the way this would turn out, Connery, honestly. That was a complete blind side of a result. We are going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the best part of Monday Night Skippys. It's the post-race show, so we'll catch you on the flip side. Welcome back to the post-race show here on Monday Night at Skippys, and with us first up, yeah, we aren't even messing around for this one. No, I don't even think the word robbed is appropriate for what happened to Fahim Antonides just now. I think mugging with a chainsaw fits most appropriately here for him. Tell us what happened.
Look, I can't complain really. I mean, the lap traffic was good to me all throughout the race, and I'm thinking throughout the race, I can't believe this. I'm pulling away from really fast guys. They must be really unlucky with the lap traffic. But as it happens, on the very last corner, they got very lucky with the lap traffic. And I mean, what could I do but laugh? But I am happy with the result because to finish third out of a situation like that is actually quite lucky. So no complaints. It's just one of those things that happen. What can you do? Hey.
That is a very mature attitude from you, to be fair, for this one. Not quite what I was expecting at all, but as it stands, you come home third today, so it's still good points, but it's not the points you wanted.
Well, when I go away, I'm going to get into the fetal position and cry myself to sleep.
As long as you don't do it on air, we're fine. Commiserations for him. Third place, still fantastic, and wow, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Next up, we're going to talk to... the next logical position that finished today was Paul Thurston, who qualified in third place. Where did that come from?
I'll tell you when I find out.
Did you install NOS on your car for today's qualifying? And where was it in the race?
Well, problem is it ran out. I used it all in qualifying. No, I think actually just chatting to Fahim in the waiting room there. I was conservative in the race. I mean, basically, I just took the lap up in quality. It's only a tenth faster than I've been doing in practice, but a tenth at Lime Rock in this company basically jumps you up about 10 places. So third, I will admit to being a little surprised at that. But then in the race, I went conservative and I went 3.1 gallons on the fuel. I thought I could do 2.1, but I thought, do I really want to risk it from there? With hindsight, I should have, because basically they all just mugged me off on the first couple of laps. Then I found my spot where my pace worked. James got past me, which irritated me a bit because I think I was quicker than him. But then I had a great little race with James. The whole race. Near the end, the temps were getting a bit high, but I thought, oh, bother it. I'll just put my foot down and see what happens. I couldn't quite catch him though, but it's a top 10, first race of the season at Lime Rock. Have you seen the top 30 were on the lead lap? That's not bad.
They were, and if you actually want to calculate it, the top 41 cars were within a second in qualifying. That's what the sort of competition you were racing in tonight.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, a tenth. You nick a tenth in that, and you're going to jump a big lump up there. But yeah, they're a bit brutal up the front there. I'll be honest, but fair. I mean, basically, I couldn't argue with any of the moves. So I'll just sort of I'll go in a corner like Fahim and basically in the fetal position and cry my eyes out.
Well, still, 10th place, a fantastic result, Paul. So time for your cup of tea, I think.
Indeed, thank you.
Thank you, Paul Thurston. And I think Connor is standing by now with Gary Tall.
Yes, I am, and well, Gary, it's kind of the weekly chat with Barry West as well as the weekly chat with Paul Thurston at this rate, and well, it was P number 44 in qualifying for you, P number 36 in the race, which is an improvement. You did end up finishing one lap down, so how was the carnage out there?
Well, I was keeping out trouble in the first lap, and then as we came down to the last bend, I think it was Oliver Elliott. I gave way to him down the bottom of the hill. I'm right on his tail, and he saw what was happening in front, and I didn't. And he moved out of the way, just missed the. No, it was Oliver Elliott that actually turned right round facing her, and I just had a shock of horror. It was like a scream, I suppose, on my face. I just plowed straight into the front of him. I just watched the replay, and there's 3 cars behind me ran bang, 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 straight into him. Unfortunately, I limped into the pits, and that was it there. I was down to 56, and then back up to 36. So yeah, unfortunately, Oliver Elliott was one of not good. But
Yeah, it was a good recovery drive considering you did have to come down towards the lane to get that fast repair done and everything like that. But in terms of the rest of your season now, it's like it's not obviously it's not the best of results to get your season started. But can you just look past this one now, looking into the next race?
Yeah, good times are going to come. I can feel it in my water. It's just that it's going to get better. It can't get worse than this. We ended up last season on a good run, and then not like this. But so good. I mean, our team leader did well. Get the points. Yeah. So next week we get.
Yeah, it's the case of if you're ever feeling down, just remember Paul Thurston got P3 in qualifying just now. So anything can happen. I'm sorry, Paul.
I did ask him to stop the series before the race started.
But yeah, that was anyone else you want to thank before we let you go, Barry?
Well, I just think what a wonderful field this is. Like you say, with those that number of cars in the top within a second of each other. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, it is a real high class field.
Yeah, it is absolutely brilliant. As again, another weekly chat with Barry West there, Rachel.
I said it was, and I kind of asked you to talk to Gary Tall, who's sitting there out in the cold.
I mean, the names sound similar, so
they kind of Tall West Tall West, Gary Barry. Yeah, I can see it. Never mind. Connor is standing by with Gary Tall.
Oh, I'm doing all of the interviews.
You are.
Okay.
I did too.
There we go.
You did too.
Well, there we go. Gary Tall. Well, we eventually get to you as you did finish P number 12, so not quite a top 10, but still a decent result, especially considering that you gained 4 positions over your qualifying time, and you were fighting in and around that sort of pack with Anthony Cat. Also, Thurston was in and around that sort of area as well as Jonathan Sheen behind as well. So quite a competitive pack in the middle of the field. So was that how you felt it went today?
Yeah, it was fine, Connery. I haven't really raced for a year. I did the last race of last season, but not very well. I've had very little practice for a long while, so yeah, I was happy enough. It was a great battle with Matt and Anthony as well, so no, it was good.
Yeah, good indeed, especially, as you say, if you haven't had any practice, still finishing P number 12 is still a very respectable result. And, that kind of leads on to the next question of, are you committing to a full season again after having a year off?
Yeah, I will. It's been work that's stopped me, so hopefully I should be able to do a full season this time.
Full season with practice as well, so I guess if you get that get back into the swing of things in terms of that, we can see definitely a lot more from you. Maybe aiming top 10s, top 5s.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. As before we let you go, anyone else you want to thank? You got that usual spiel.
No, it's as Barry said, it's a good field. I mean, it's great to race. It was good today. It was. You're racing very closely at Lime Rock, and everybody was driving very safely and very considerately. So no, it was great.
Yeah, and that is kind of the impression that we got as well, Rachel. The lap traffic, even though it was a major issue in the end, if your name is Female Tinnitus, apart from that, the lap traffic was pretty nice out here today.
It certainly was. And well, finally, last but not least, and we could say we saved the best to last here, but we got a chance to chat to Benny Simonson, the man who, until 3 or 4 seconds before the end of the race, thought he was finishing second.
Yep. Yeah, a bit of luck there, really. I was sure I was finishing second. I actually thought about slowing down and let Fareem win anyway, but then I could see Simon coming pretty fast behind me, so I thought better keep my foot in.
That's an interesting consideration there, obviously, that the sporting thing, perhaps, versus the will third place also be sporting. So you did what you had to do at this point. I don't think Fahim will hold it against you in that situation, but a tough race, and the track and the traffic was problematic.
Yeah, very tough. It's always a tricky track, I think. The traffic was quite tricky. I think I got hit twice and got a bit of steering damage on lap 3 or 4, I think. But it's the same for everybody. Yeah.
Certainly is. Well, congratulations on the win in the first round, and perhaps off to a good season. Are you planning on running every round this time?
No. I'll do some of can. I'd like to leave tomorrow for Porsche Career Cup Asia in off the screen, so I'm gonna miss the next one. So yeah, it was just a one-off. It was first time on iRacing in about 4 or 5 months for me tonight. So yeah, I will do the one I can and see how it gets.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations, Benny, coming home today with the win. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, Connery, that was probably one of the more intense Lime Rock Park races we've seen so far. It's been a good one. So thank you everyone who tuned in for tonight. As always, don't forget you can catch us exactly the same time next week, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.